In the valley of the moors where magic danced in the air and ancient trees hummed songs of old, Maleficent wandered alone, her heart hardened by betrayal. She trusted no one except Diaval, who had always remained loyal. One evening when the sky was painted in shades of violet and gold, she heard a voice, not one of fear but of fury. Near the riverbank a tiny fairy-like creature was tangled in thorns, its wings fluttering, its cries sharp and defiant. "Oh, foolish thorns, I am not a morsel for crows." Maleficent peered down, curiosity and a faint smile on her lips. She could have walked away, but there was something in that small, stubborn, brave creature that touched a long-forgotten place within her heart. With a simple flick of her staff the thorns withered away and the little fae tumbled onto the grass. "I could have freed myself," she said with pride. "Certainly," Maleficent replied with a hint of sarcasm in her tone. The fairy looked at her, then laughed. "You are Maleficent, right? The one who cursed the princess?" Maleficent raised a brow. "That is what they say." "You do not seem so terrifying." "Maybe just misunderstood," she said with a shrug. Maleficent turned away in silence, unsure of how to answer such innocent and honest words. "My name is Nessa," said the fairy. "You helped me, so now I will stay in your life until I save yours, or at least make you laugh." "You will grow tired," Maleficent warned. "Try me," Nessa said, her eyes bright with determination. Days turned into weeks and Nessa kept her word. She talked endlessly, left wildflowers on Maleficent's window, told innocent jokes, and even made Diaval laugh. Slowly Maleficent's hardened heart began to soften, not by magic, not by grand gestures, but through quiet moments and simple kindnesses. And though she never said it, Maleficent began to walk slower so Nessa could keep up. They were an odd pair, shadow and light, yet in the valley of the moors where impossible things were born, the rarest kind of magic began to grow. The air in the moors began to shift. Where silence and solitude once ruled, soft laughter could now be heard. With Nessa around, Maleficent's heart seemed to sink to a new rhythm. One day when the first breeze of winter made the tree leaves shimmer, Nessa was circling a small thorny plant. "What is this?" she asked. "That is a sleep plant," Maleficent replied. "Disturb it and it releases a sleeping dust." "So you used this to put the princess to sleep?" Nessa smiled. Maleficent gave no answer, but there was no accusation in Nessa's eyes, only curiosity. "Sometimes," Maleficent said quietly, "people in pain do things even they do not understand." Nessa held out a flower to her. "And sometimes one friend is enough to make you forget the pain." That moment was special for both of them, a silence where no words were needed. Diaval descended from the trees and landed on Maleficent's shoulder. His dark eyes too held a change, as if he knew his mistress was no longer alone. That night Nessa looked up at the sky where a shooting star blazed across. "I heard if you make a wish for a friend the sky listens," she said. Maleficent looked at Nessa silently, her tiny glow, her simplicity, her selfless friendship had become something powerful. "So what did you wish for?" Maleficent asked. Nessa laughed. "I wished that you never lose yourself in darkness again." And in that moment Maleficent saw herself in a new light, one where she was no longer alone. A few days later a strange silence fell upon the land of the moors, where once the birds awakened to Nessa's songs. They now sat hidden within the trees, and in the air there drifted an unnamed fear. Maleficent felt the change, for she knew this was the language of nature, and nature never lies. That very evening Nessa disappeared. Maleficent scoured the entire valley, the rivers, the lakes, the ancient caves, the enchanted springs, yet nothing was found, and Diaval circled above the skies, his voice carrying a restlessness that Maleficent had never heard before. Suddenly beneath a tree at the edge of the valley a small necklace was discovered. It belonged to Nessa, and she never took it off, and now it held a toxic glow. Maleficent picked it up, closed her eyes, and whispered an ancient spell. A vision appeared of an old enemy, Aurora, once her apprentice, cast out for misusing dark magic, and now she had returned, and she had taken Nessa captive. Her intentions far from simple, for she wished to uncover Maleficent's weakness, and the time had come to break her. The old fire returned to Maleficent's eyes, but this time it was not for vengeance, this time it was for protection. She gathered her cloak, placed Diaval on her shoulder, and said, "The time has come, I will bring her back." And so began a new war, but this time Maleficent was not alone, for friendship had changed her, and for friendship she would fight until her last breath. Maleficent rose into the skies, her wings wrapping the world in a cloak of darkness. Diaval flew beside her, watching every bush, every mountain, every river, as if guarding the land itself. Her magic echoed in the air as though the valley could feel her pain. The castle of Melora stood far to the east, hidden in bleak hills where the earth was colorless and the air heavy. It was no ordinary castle but one forged in magic, ever shifting in form, with every door a deception and every shadow a trap. As Maleficent stepped onto the threshold, the ground trembled beneath her feet as if the earth itself feared her arrival. Inside was darkness, not seen but felt in the heart. A voice rang out, "At last you have come, Maleficent." Melora stood in the center of the castle, dressed in black, her eyes glowing red. Behind her in a glass cage lay Nessa, unconscious, her wings dim as if even hope had grown tired. "Let her go," Maleficent's voice thundered. Melora laughed, a laugh laced with pain and envy. "You cast me out, you called me weak, but what you never understood is that friendships become weaknesses, and this little fairy is your greatest." Maleficent raised her staff, then paused, lowering it slowly. "You may win with magic, Melora, but today I will defeat you with the heart." Melora attacked, black flames lashing through the air. Maleficent blocked them, yet the battle was not just of power. With every strike she showed Melora memories of laughter, of innocence, of a time she wanted no harm. Melora's hands began to tremble within her. The child she once was stirred. Maleficent called to her. "There is still time, come back." Tears welled in Melora's eyes, but no words came. She turned and quietly opened the cage. Nessa opened her eyes, her light returned. She looked at Maleficent, then at Melora, and softly spoke. "Thank you for giving us another chance." The castle began to crumble as if darkness itself felt shame. Maleficent, Nessa and Diaval returned to the moors, yet Maleficent was no longer just a friend but a hope, a guide and a guardian. Melora walked silently beside Maleficent into the borders of the moors. The trees saw her, the birds sensed the whisper of her breath, and the magic tested the weight of her soul, but no one said a word, because when Maleficent is present, nature does not question, it simply trusts. Nessa, who was always speaking, stayed mostly quiet that day. Her tiny light flickered gently like the flame of a delicate feeling. "Can you really trust her?" Nessa asked softly. Maleficent looked up at the sky where the evening hues were growing deeper. "I am not trusting her," she said. "I am giving her a chance the way you once gave me one." Melora saw the place among the trees where she used to learn from Maleficent, now scattered with autumn leaves and carrying the scent of old memories in the air. "May I stay here?" Melora asked, her voice carrying neither pride nor plea, only truth. Maleficent glanced at Diaval, who sat watching from a branch above. "It is not my decision but the moors itself, but if Nessa agrees, maybe the rest will too." Nessa thought for a moment, then smiled and said, "On one condition, you must give me at least one smile each day, because this place is for light, not for darkness." Melora's eyes glistened and she nodded. Within days the moors began to accept her. She shared magic with the spirits, shaped young trees into new forms, and sang songs for the birds. Maleficent watched her from afar, and Nessa, curled up on her shoulder, said, "You know, friendship is a kind of magic too." Maleficent smiled. She knew that the journey from darkness to light is never easy, but when someone walks with you, whether a tiny fairy or a remorseful enemy, the path becomes possible.